I so approve the agenda.
Thank you, Trustee Cuddy. Any conflicts of interest? Okay, seeing none, you should see it above you that a recording has started of this meeting. It will be recorded and shared just so that everybody's aware. Okay, item number 3, election of the vice chair. Now, don't everyone run to the microphone at once. Maybe we'll do this as a show of hands if anyone is interested in serving as vice chair of the Program and School Services Advisory Committee for a term till November 30th.
This is Bruce. I would do it.
Thank you, Trustee Smith. Much appreciated. Any others? Is this going to be a race? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Trustee Smith. You are claimed. Item number 4, the Summer Learning Program 2021. We'll turn it over to Superintendent Moynihan, Superintendent Canham, Langland, and acting principal? Assistant principal, sorry, Doc Stater. Thank you.
Good evening and thank you. Chair, can you please confirm that you can see the slide deck?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. We are pleased to be here today to share information regarding the learning opportunities available to Thames Valley students this past summer. Joining me this evening are Superintendent Andrew Canham, System Principal Gwen Dockstader, and Superintendent Tracy Langland. Each summer, we look forward to the opportunity to engage our students in a variety of educational programs. We know that the benefits of summer learning programs include providing opportunities for academic learning, which may not otherwise be available to students, reducing the potential for summer learning loss, and allowing for continued social skills development. In a summer preceded by remote learning across the province, the summer learning programs offered in July and August afforded students the valuable opportunity to engage with peers in either a virtual or in-person format. This slide illustrates many of the summer learning programs which are available to elementary students this summer. We were very impressed that 866 students participated in these programs. Our Literacy Numeracy Summer Learning Program was offered to students in grades 3 through 6 in our targeted elementary schools. Our English Language Learner Summer Learning Program was offered to students in grades 3 through 8 who were working at early levels of English proficiency. Both half-day programs ran for 3 weeks in July and focused on literacy and numeracy skill development. Instruction was scaffolded throughout the day to meet the needs of the learners and consisted of whole class, small group, and individual lessons. Learning support teachers were available to support those students on individual education plans in these programs. Impressively, learning support teachers supported over 600 students with individual education plans throughout our summer learning programs this summer. The Literacy Numeracy Summer Learning Program welcomed a children's author to their online class, for which they received positive feedback from students, parents, and staff. The English Language Learner Summer Learning Program connected with staff from the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority, who provided a virtual field trip for students and staff, which consisted of a tour of Fanshawe's different habitats, including a pond, a meadow, a forest, and learning about the animals which live in each area. Given that we had just finished a school year in remote learning, the summer learning programs provided students with much needed social interaction, as well as an opportunity for literacy and numeracy skill development. Information regarding student progress was sent to families and homeschools at the end of the program. Through specialized funding received from the ministry this spring, we were able to support a level literacy intervention program this past summer. In support of our operational plan, in which we have a goal to ensure that all students are proficient readers by the end of grade 2, we offered this program to grade 2 students who are reading at the mid to late grade 1 range. These students participated in small groups of precise, personalized literacy instruction every day throughout July. We are very proud of the fact that most students demonstrated significant improvement in their reading abilities with this literacy programming.
This summer, the Special Education Department was pleased to reintroduce speech and language camps for our Thames Valley community. Our district has historically offered these one-week summer learning opportunities facilitated by our speech and language pathologists. However, this year, this explicit intervention was offered to 100 students using a virtual platform. The articulation camp was offered to students going into senior kindergarten, grade 1 or grade 2, while the sound skills or phonological awareness camp was made available for our students entering grade 1 and 2. Our Thames Valley parent community played a fundamental role in the success of this program. Parents and guardians were invited to observe precise feedback and cueing strategies to support their children's goals. Home practice ideas were also shared on a daily basis. Our district has developed and implemented a highly successful after-school skill development program which operates at selective sites throughout the school year. This year, with the spring school closure, unfortunately, many of the students formally identified with an autism exceptionality who have engaged in this specialized social skills program were unable to complete this evidence-based children's friendship training program facilitated by our behavior analysts, speech and language pathologists, social workers, and educational assistants. This summer, we were fortunate enough to be able to use the remaining Grants for Student Need funding to offer 3 virtual camps to dozens of students and their parents and guardians. The department is very proud to share that a new initiative was introduced to Thames Valley families this summer. It was our Tech Tools Titan Camp. This week-long intensive learning opportunity was specifically designed to support students formally identified with a learning disability. However, due to the abundance of interest from other students, this fun and innovative technology camp was open to all students in grade 5 through grade 8 across the valley. Through a wide array of collaborative challenges, students were taught how to use many of the commonly used assistive technology universal supports that are found in all of our district's classroom. All 140 participants left this engaging learning opportunity with a Triple T or Tech Tool Titan certification.
We were very pleased with the high level of student interest in virtual secondary summer programming for grades 7 to 12 students. From new to improvement credits and hybrid cooperative education partnerships throughout our communities, we welcomed more than 7,000 registrations for the summer of 2021. The summer team worked hard to provide learning opportunities for all. We would be remiss if we did not acknowledge the cumulative total of over 220 Thames Valley staff consisting of administrators, supervisors, teachers, educational assistants, support staff, and custodians whose support behind the scenes and screens dedication resulted in yet another successful learning-filled summer for our students. In keeping with our operational goals as they relate to improving credit attainment and graduation rates, we are pleased with the credits earned and recovered throughout the summer months, given the need for our students to continue to work virtually. 3,070 credits were earned, which also includes 107 recovered credits and 37 improvement credits, with a success rate of over 95% of those registered. Notably, there was a success rate of 90% for our students with an IEP. This is reassuring data given the absence of in-person learning and a testament to the commitment of both staff and students. New this summer was the collaborative development of a virtual anti-Black racism course that was piloted with 14 grade 12 students stemming from 5 of our secondary schools. This course will form the basis for further consultation and development of programming that addresses anti-Black racism. Details of this course were shared at September's board meeting. With the new de-streamed grade 9 math course that began this school year, a curriculum writing team was formed leading up to this program to design a preparatory course that was aligned with the new curriculum. In order to provide increased time for students to focus on concepts that can be challenging, High School Math Here I Come increased from a 2 to a 3-week program. The 215 participants' achievement in grade 9 will be monitored and reviewed this year in order to inform best practices to provide continued targeted numeracy support. Our literacy and numeracy camps for incoming grade 7 and 8 students consisted of remote group activities with direct support as students progress through learning sessions that included strategies designed to prepare students for our current school year. This extension of learning helps to sustain academic skills and enhance learning outcomes. In August, approximately 3,000 incoming grade 9 students attended our annual High School Here I Come program hosted in person at our secondary schools. For many of our students, having the opportunity to get a glimpse of what is to come increases their confidence and eases the angst of this exciting transition to high school. I would like to pass the remainder of the presentation to Gwen Dockstader, System Principal for Indigenous Education, to share her direct work as it relates to Indigenous summer programming. Thank you.
Our Indigenous Summer Learning Program was offered to Indigenous students in grades 3 to grade 8. The half-day program ran for 3 weeks in July and focused on literacy, numeracy, and cultural teachings. The Indigenous Summer Learning Program incorporated texts by Indigenous authors throughout the program. Students were given opportunities to learn from local First Nation knowledge keepers and cultural teachers. Traditional Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe teachings were shared on the topics of personal well-being, giving thanks to the environment, student voice, the importance of water, the importance of family, maintaining balance, and understanding the purpose of dream catchers. Local knowledge keepers shared their knowledge and unique skills. Students had the opportunity for literacy and numeracy skill development, as well as participation in creating dream catchers, sketching, and painting. Information regarding student progress was sent to families and homeschools at the end of the program. During July and August, we offered a grade 9 Reach Ahead new credit opportunity for Indigenous students entering grade 9 in September 2021. The Workplace Essentials GLD 201 course was offered in a hybrid model. Students attended in person 2 days per week at Oneida Nation of the Thames and Chippewa of the Thames First Nation. The remainder of the days, students worked asynchronously at home on assignments. Literacy, numeracy, general learning skills, nutrition, physical and emotional well-being were all incorporated into the course. Students learned from an Indigenous teacher, Indigenous graduation coach, and local knowledge keepers. Staff from Thames Valley District School Board high schools had in-person visits to begin to develop relationships with students. Students also visited their new high schools, where they toured the building, met teaching staff, and received their timetables. Many of these students also attended the High School Here I Come program offered at the end of August. It is important to note that due to First Nation school closures and parental choice to enroll their students in full remote learning, many of the students in attendance had not attended in-person school in 18 months. We had a 100% success rate of these Indigenous students earning their first credit towards their OSSD prior to attending high school. Thank you, and we would be pleased to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from trustees? Trustee Pizzolatto, go ahead.
Thank you. I liked being in this spot. I can ask questions. I liked seeing that when you looked at speech, that you were really incorporating the parents. I really like seeing that, because you have to follow through on a lot of those things at home. So you were giving them the tools to help their child. So that was amazing. The other one I wanted to talk to you about is assistive technology. Did you find a lot of students who applied for that just wanted to learn about computers? Like they didn't have any technology they need, like they weren't on an IEP, they didn't need the assistive technology, they just wanted to learn software and how to do computer stuff?
So thank you for the question. And yes, we did find there was a bit of a vetting process that in conversations with the families, we did find that there were some students that just registered thinking that this was an opportunity to learn about technology or play on the computer, whether it be coding or any other skill set. But after working with the families to help them understand that the intent of the camp was really about teaching students those universal design strategies. Helpful to some, or specific to some, but helpful to all. So after we were able to have those conversations with parents, we were able to distill down the number of students that actually participate in the camp. But the registration was certainly beyond any of our expectations as far as the number of students that joined us. Thank you.
Follow up to that?
Hi, please.
Did you find that the numbers who wanted to join just for computers was enough to probably hold a summer camp for those students that didn't have assistive technology? Like for kids who just enjoyed computers and coding?
Right, and again, thank you for the question. There were probably about a dozen or so students that fit in that particular profile. I think it's important to highlight to our board that the initial flyers that went out made it fairly clear that this was an assistive technology camp. And so I think there was probably a natural vetting process that occurred as some parents saw that and realized that this may not have been the opportunity that for someone that was learning, for example, how to code, how to do robotics or anything else like that. So a very small number ended up not participating in the camp from the original registration.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Smith, go ahead.
Thank you. My question is about enrollment as well, but overall enrollment. Do you feel that, I know that not all staff want to work through the summer and such like that. Do you feel that we could handle more students? Like if you had twice as many people as you had this summer, would you be overwhelmed? Or like, where are we at with that?
Through the chair, on behalf of my colleagues, I'll respond from a special education lens. So two quick aspects. We had a expression of interest that we sent out to across the system for LSTs, learning support teachers at both the elementary and the secondary level. We had a plethora of applications come in, far more than we needed to hire for the increased enrollment that we saw this summer. The same is very true for our Tech Tools Titan Camp that I was just explaining to Trustee Pizzolatto. Initially, we thought that this was something that our assistive technology TOSA team would be able to handle, but due to the influx of applications that came in from students, we extended it beyond to LSTs across the system. Again, expression of interest far exceeded our requirements. So notwithstanding the fact from a special education lens, we saw higher enrollment than we've seen in the last few years. We still had an abundance of staff that were dedicated and wanting to work with students throughout the summer months.
I can add on to that as well, Andrew, through the chair, just with respect to registration numbers. Through summer school registration, this was the highest numbers that they have seen in over a decade. And although we don't feel that there is a replacement for in-person learning, this is certainly new territory for us to explore as a district, because we were able to reach a wider group of students by having access to virtual summer courses. So although we really greatly anticipate the return of in-person learning for summer school programming, this certainly has opened the door for us to continue to receive larger number of students, as they've definitely demonstrated that there is an appetite for this platform.
And I would just add one more comment, if I might, through the chair. We too felt we were able to reach a wide range of students from all over our board and support them in their summer learning. We did use up almost all of the staff that indicated an interest. So with the number of students we had and the ratio of staff that we wanted to have in the classrooms, we were able to use all the staff up that indicated that interest.
Once again, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions from trustees? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to thank you to our presenters, and thank you for a successful summer learning program as well. We'll move on to item number 5. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, Trustee Eton has a question before we move on.
Can you hear me? Okay, sorry, I was late. I'm sorry, and I'm not sure if this question was asked, but are the plans then for the continued summer of 2022? And is there anything that you can see need improvement, or is it too hard to tell because we don't know where the pandemic is at this point?
Are you asking about all of our programs in general? Okay. Yes. So just any reflections based on lesson learned from all of the different programs and what we may want to consider continuing and what we may want to change?
I can start just from the point that we have registered so many students through the grades 7 to 12 program. As I mentioned earlier, we certainly see a great interest in our students to access an online learning platform. However, in terms of a lesson learned or some areas for us to explore further, it would be widening our opportunities for all pathways. Not all students can be successful in a virtual learning platform, and therefore the return of in-person learning is something that we realize that we cannot do away with. We recognize the flexibility from a workload perspective for both staff and students to an online learning platform, but it is not without its flaws. So we look forward to exploring that in the future. In addition, we really felt that the students, particularly with high school math, here I come, expanding that to a 3-week program had far greater gains than they did for the 2-week program. And we've already begun some preliminary conversations as to how we can continue that in certain target areas.
If I could add a comment through the chair. From the Indigenous education portfolio perspective, what we would like to happen next year is actually to incorporate a reach ahead opportunity for the grade 9 students that are entering for September 2022, but also to have an alternate course option for students that are in grade 10 and above, because there was definite interest there. And I know that in previous years, there has been opportunities for students in grade 9 to 12 through the summer Indigenous education portfolio programs. So that's something that we're going to look at as well.
And maybe I'll jump in very quickly before letting Superintendent Moynihan make some maybe concluding comments, and that is from a special education lens, some of the programs that we were able to offer this summer, and very specifically the speech and language pathology camps and the tech tool Titans camp, these were all funded from within our special education budget, providing learning support teachers, LST support to the summer learning program was a specific grant that came in from the ministry. We did receive it last summer, and we did receive summer of 2020, and we did receive it in summer of 2021. So with continued hope that the ministry continues to fund that, we would be able to again offer that vital support to our students over the summer months.
Thank you, Superintendent Canham. And we too would hope to continue the programs that we offer next year and reach out to as many students as possible. We usually hear about our grant in about April or May. We've always requested that we could hear earlier so that we could plan accordingly, but we will wait to see what those funds look like for next summer so we can program for our students.
Thank you. Any other questions before we move on? Okay, seeing none. Thank you. We'll move to supporting student mental health and well-being with Superintendent Wright and Canham and our mental health lead, Catherine Lambert, and system principal, Dorian Rosati, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to come here this evening to share the exciting progress we've made to date on our mental health plan. I wish to thank Superintendent Canham, Manager Ferdinand, and System Principal Rosati for their ongoing collaboration, support, and guidance in this important work and on this presentation today. We're in challenging times, and these collaborations and the opportunity to share our plans with you for your feedback and advice is always helpful. Thames Valley District School Board continues to increase and improve our supports to the mental health and well-being of our students and is committed to equity in this space. For your information, a version of this slide deck will be shared at an upcoming SEAC meeting. I would now love to introduce you to our new mental health lead, Catherine Lambert, who will be walking you through the presentation today.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Wright. We are very excited to share some updates and plans on how we are supporting student mental health and well-being, which is such an important aspect of our work, especially during the context of the current pandemic. What we do to support the mental health and well-being of our students is informed by and aligned with our strategic and operational plans, as well as our mental health strategic plan, which informs our annual mental health and addictions action plan. School Mental Health Ontario's strategic and annual action plans also influence our work, as we aim to send consistent messages and resources across the province. As illustrated in the model at the center of your screen, we use a tiered approach in offering school mental health supports. The dark green section of the triangle represents Tier 1, which is good for everybody, good for all, and it focuses on school and classroom level strategies to support the social and emotional development of our learners. Tier 1 strategies include the promotion of positive well-being, support students in appropriately managing emotions, and integrates mental health literacy across all grades. Within our board, this level of mental health and well-being system support is primarily offered by the Safe School and Wellbeing portfolio. The teal area of the triangle represents Tier 2, and which is required for some of our students. They include early intervention and support services. At the top of the triangle is Tier 3, intensive supports, which are needed for a few, and these include assessment and treatment services. Tier 2 and 3 services are typically provided by special education and professional services staff. Our mental health and well-being plans are informed through system and school level processes such as the school climate survey, school improvement process and plans, and the safe and inclusive school plans. We are continuously monitoring and gathering feedback as we review the impact of our work and make changes as needed. Our mental health initiatives support all of our strategic plan priorities. In order for our learners to achieve excellence, their minds need to be available to learn in equitable and inclusive environments, which are rooted in caring and supportive relationships. Our work to support the well-being of students also aligns with our operational plan, specifically in the goal areas related to student identities, communication, and reducing suspensions. We have 3 goals that are included in our current mental health strategic plan, and each goal has related annual priorities and activities. The next few slides will be a review of each of these goals and the progress we are making in achieving them. This year, we are focusing on further embedding Tier 1 classroom resources, which build capacity to be trauma sensitive. Specifically, we're very proud to have developed an evidence-informed framework called the Essential Conditions for Learning, which highlights the need for our learners to develop supportive relationships, to feel safe and connected in order to regulate their emotions and be available to learn. Supporting our staff to create these essential conditions for learning in schools and classrooms will have a positive impact on our suspension rates, as this framework focuses on early interventions and preventing incidences from escalating. Another priority is to ensure that the classroom strategies we are using to support the social and emotional development of our students are evidence-informed and culturally responsive. Although last year was unusual given the pandemic, we are proud that significant progress in meeting this mental health strategic plan goal was made. For example, we developed and released monthly editions of Together in the Valley, which is our internal newsletter promoting Tier 1 evidence-informed student mental health and well-being strategies for educators. Over 1,000 employees participated in Tier 1 restorative practice professional learning, which includes learning about approaches for culturally responsive social and emotional learning, and it also supports our goals of reducing suspensions and getting to know more about the identities of our students. In addition, we implemented School Mental Health Ontario's action kits, which provide educators specific lesson plans for grades K to 12. A significant amount of resources were developed last year to support this Tier 1 work. This year's focus is to further implement them across the system. To support that, we will be hosting regular drop-in sessions beginning in October for administrators and educators to dialogue about successes and challenges in supporting student mental health and well-being. We will also be supporting the implementation of the mental health literacy program for secondary schools, which are classroom lesson plans, which have been developed by School Mental Health Ontario. This slide illustrates some resources that our team has used and pulled together over the past year. On the September 2nd PA Day, we provided all staff a professional learning workshop related to student mental health and well-being. Every educator received posters and magnets related to the essential conditions for learning. In addition, administrators across the system had the opportunity and choice to select resources related to relationship-based and trauma-sensitive approaches. A key takeaway from that professional learning was the importance of getting to know our learners and building relationships, which are aligned with our operational goal of learning about our students' identities and lived experiences. Over the summer, we updated our internal SharePoint site where all of these resources are linked, making them more accessible for administrators and educators across the system. And here's a glimpse into that site. This is a screenshot of the homepage. On the left-hand side are various categories in which our resources are organized into. The visual triangle is the image created to reflect the Essential Conditions for Learning framework, which we're implementing throughout the year. When you click on the various sections, for example, safety, the screen changes, and as illustrated on the slide, and you're taken to a page that includes links to practical educator tools for school and classroom strategies, which support that specific essential condition. Each part of the site includes educator resources which have been vetted by the team to ensure that they are evidence-informed. Ensuring equitable access to services and supports continues to be a priority. COVID has impacted everyone differently. Some communities, families, and students have been disproportionately impacted. We anticipate the mental health needs of students to increase. As such, we have been collaborating across portfolios and with our community partners to ensure that there are clear pathways to care for timely and responsive support. This year, we will continue to enhance our capacity to meet the mental health needs of students, building on the momentum from last year. For example, the partnership with King's College School of Social Work, which fast-tracks parents of elementary students into services, was developed last year, will continue this year. Over the summer, professional services staff offered direct mental health supports to students and families through our TV Cares initiative. We also facilitated a support group for students who are Muslim and partnered with Welkin, the Child and Youth Mental Health Lead Agency for Elgin and Oxford, to offer parent workshops which focus on supporting children's mental health as they prepare to return to school. This year, we will continue to participate in system planning initiatives with partners to strengthen pathways to community mental health supports. School Mental Health Ontario is in the process of drafting resources as part of their Indigenous mental health project. We look forward to reviewing and releasing those in partnership with our Indigenous education portfolio. We have been able to invest additional professional service staffing resources for direct service to communities disproportionately impacted by COVID and for Tier 1 system support. Student and family engagement is required to ensure that mental health and well-being needs of all our learners are met. We will continue to engage with families using diverse methods to ensure that they are informed about mental health resources and know how to reach out for support. We are fortunate to have collaborative partners in all of our communities who are available to wrap around students and families. We are continuing to identify and implement innovative ways to meet the needs of our communities. For example, this year we will release another 4 editions of Together in the Valley, which are newsletters for parents and students related to student mental health and well-being. We will continue to partner with Student Advisory Committee members, student trustees, and the Thames Valley Parent Involvement Committee to support student mental health and well-being initiatives. Last year, we partnered with Thames Valley Parent Involvement Committee, Thames Valley Innovates, and the Arts Portfolio in the Heart of Mental Health Initiative. Using the Parents Reaching Out grant, we were able to purchase gardening and art kits for families to do with their children and encourage them to share these wellness activities on social media. I am looking forward to attending the next Thames Valley Parent Involvement Committee meeting to hear feedback, share information, and identify opportunities to collaborate this year. We are pleased to inform you that we're in the final phase of updating our board's mental health and well-being website. We have improved the website to make mental health resources more accessible to students and families. We have also started to engage with community partners as we develop our human trafficking protocol. The Ministry of Education has required that every board in the province develop such a protocol. This protocol will include prevention initiative, staff training, and procedures in responding to high-risk situations. Tapping into the existing resources provincially and locally will strengthen our capacity in this area. As well, we will continue to offer virtual parent workshops, which were very well attended over the summer. Our family, student, and community engagement activities support the operational goal of improved communication and engagement with all stakeholders. We appreciate that you have created space for us to reflect and share on how we are supporting student mental health and well-being across the system. We are happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Are there any questions? Well, I guess you answered all the questions. Thank you so much for the presentation. Looking forward to hearing more about your initiatives as the term continues. Next, we're going to move on. Unless again, any final questions before we move on? Okay, seeing none, thank you again, everyone. We're going to move on to number 6, which is the Program and School Services Advisory Committee mandate. So the mandate's been provided for you since this is our first Program and School Services Advisory Committee meeting. I'm not going to read out the mandate as everyone has it in front of them. However, I just wanted to ensure that it was provided in the package, and also just let you know if you had any agenda items that you'd like added to a Program and School Services Committee meeting, please feel free to bring those forward through Associate Director Culhane or myself. Any questions before we move on to questions and comments by members? Okay. So item 7, any questions or comments by members? Okay, seeing none. Date and time of next meeting. So the next meeting is scheduled for November 2nd, and that will be at 6 p.m. Thanks everyone for participating in tonight's meeting. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Good night, all.